They're up, they're down, they're in and they're out. In fact, they're all over the board. And Philadelphia Eagles fans and bettors want to know why. Eagles, why? Hi, everybody. Welcome back to Why Eagles Why, your weekly Eagles blood pressure pill. And they've been making a lot of people happy lately. They're 7-7, right on the verge of the playoffs. And they're exciting a lot of people about what they might do. Our show is in 4 quarters, so please hit like and subscribe so you can be notified of future videos. I'm Dave Bontempo along with Pete Amato and Bill Gelman. Welcome, guys. And Pete, well, Eagles got it done against Washington. They're right in the hunt. What do you think about where they are right now?
Yeah, they got it done. They looked a little rusty at first, which what we thought was going to happen. I mean, they had like a 2-week bye, basically a 2.5-week bye. So Jalen Hurts looked a little rusty, but I thought that was coming too. They came out in the second half and they looked like a different team. I was impressed with how the offense played. I've been impressed with how the offensive line has been playing most of this season. These guys are literally dominating everybody they play. I know everybody passed around that Jason Kelce clip after the game where he's literally running downfield, stride for stride with Miles Sanders, which is pretty impressive. But he's been doing that his whole career. And this guy's 34 years old now, and it looks like he hasn't missed a step. And I think that's why this team's winning, is because they've gotten that tough mentality back. They got that tough, gritty run first offense, and I think that's why they're winning. They got to stay. They're a run team first. They're a run first team, and they got to stick with that. I think they can definitely make the playoffs if they just keep running the ball, using their line up front, using the big guys up front. I'm a little worried. I'm still a little worried about their defense. I'm not liking the play calling on the defense. Still, they're still calling a really soft defense. I'm just not impressed with the new defense coordinator, and we don't have many skilled players on defense. Our linebackers, our linebackers are probably not even starters on any other team. Our defensive backs had a tough game here and there. Slay looks great. Our defensive line's getting no pressure, and so that's kind of frustrating. But all in all, I was impressed with the win, and it kind of brings up my hopes. I hope it brings up Eagles fans' hopes too, because the playoff picture is looking that much more real.
All right, so when you talk about the defense, I think that will be a focus of the 2022 draft. Bill, what I saw last night, not only the explosive holes being opened up, but the exceptional timing of Miles Sanders to burst through that hole, and it looked like a terrific offensive performance. And that leads me to you and Gelman's goal, because you've been talking about this running game all year with the numbers, and you have some new ones now.
Yeah. Before I get into that, Dave, I just want to say I want to thank the Eagles, because I actually missed the first half because I had somewhere I had to be. So I'm thankful for the offense waiting for the second half to turn it on. But in all seriousness, guys, I find it kind of ironic. At the beginning of the season, what was the hot topic on this podcast? We're talking about how the Eagles need to run the ball. They need to run the ball. Why aren't they running the ball? Why aren't they giving the ball to Miles Sanders? Now they have the number 1 rushing offense in the NFL. So it's hard to pinpoint an exact number on Gelman's goal this week, because there's so many standout numbers. Since NFL Week 8, they're 5-2, and over the course of those games, they're averaging 214 yards a game on the ground, and their 165 rushing yards a game is number 1 in the NFL. And their 21 rushing touchdowns has them tied with the Colts and the Cardinals. So it's like everything's coming together. Miles Sanders had a career night last night. It's amazing. I had like 133 yards, I believe, and he didn't even get in the end zone.
Yeah, that was quite a night for him, and those are very good statistics. And the flashback, remember, I think it was week 4, and your Gelman's goal was 3. That's how many handoffs they'd had to people not named Jalen Hurts. So they have found something. And what do you think it is? Just the better blocking, the better coordination, injury free. Well, what do you attribute as the source of the rise?
Yeah, I think number one is the offensive line, because with that protection up front, they have one of the best offensive lines, I think, in the NFL. I think they just needed time to come together. And the running game has, at the beginning of the season, you knew Miles Sanders was going to be a key piece. But we touched on this in previous weeks, Jordan Howard, where he came out of nowhere. But this version of Jordan Howard, I should say, he's been with the team before. Boston Scott, he contributed along the way. And you knew what Jalen Hurts could do, but it was nice to see that Jalen Hurts, he was number 3 in the rushing yard totals last night behind Sanders and Howard. So that's when you have a 3-headed monster, and then you have a couple other guys on the bench who can run. I mean, it's hard for teams to prepare for that because you have different style runners with each of them.
And Pete, we took a look at the holes they opened up. We could have run through some of those.
Yeah. This offensive line continues to impress me. Kelsey is, you don't have to even say, he's a future Hall of Famer in my opinion. But one guy that's really impressed me all season is Jordan Mailata. If you just take away how he's even playing and just look at his story, he's interesting. The guy was a musician before he was ever an athlete. Then he was a rugby player. They told him he was too big to play rugby. So, hey, I'll try professional football. And now he's playing at a Pro Bowl level. He got Pro Bowl votes. So, and the guy, he's easy to like. And you have Lane Johnson and Dickerson, who you got to give Howie a little bit of credit for that. It was and Driscoll. So these guys are big, and they're aggressive, and they're athletic. We have a big line, but they're athletic. Kelsey's not the biggest center, but I think that's what sets us apart from all the other teams. That is our line's athleticism. That makes our running backs get into the secondary and get that second burst, because our offensive linemen are right there with them most of the plays. So it's impressive.
All right, so the Eagles are 7-7, 3 games left. There's a lot of reason for optimism beside their record, and we'll take a look at that in the second quarter. Why Eagles? Why second quarter? The Eagles are 7-7, right there on the playoff cusp with the Minnesota Vikings, but they've got some big intangibles to schedule. They play the Giants this week. They play Washington the week after. They play Dallas at home in the season finale. It is possible that neither of these 3 teams will have anything to play for. The Giants, that they won't, and Washington probably eliminated by then. And the Dallas Cowboys, it depends if they can overtake the Green Bay Packers. So, guys, they look at the schedule, and between the Eagles and the Vikings, the Eagles have quite an edge with how the chips have fallen in their direction.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Pete.
I'm sorry. Yeah, I agree. We knew coming into the second half of the season that it was going to be a very weak schedule. Even when we had a losing record and there was we knew the team looked bad, we still had that hope, a little bit of hope that, hey, we still might have a shot at the playoffs, because even though we're not a good team, we're playing teams that are even worse than us. And we talked about playoffs before they were even in this little win streak or winning 4 out of the last 5 games or whatever, 3 out of the last 5 games. So, and that was the reason why, because when we're going down the schedule and we see the last 6 games, 5 games were against teams that with losing records or with the Dallas Cowboys they might not even play for anything. They're going to have the division clinched. And and they're going to have their backups in. So, I mean, it definitely plays out well for us. Even though that Saints game,
Who?
Tom Brady blowing into that team, that kind of hurt us in the ranking, but that kind of hurt us to where we could even win out and maybe not make the playoffs. But they just got to think of the next game and not have to worry about that because that's out of their hands.
And they do have a victory over the Saints, which I think will play into a tiebreaker there. The Vikings have to play the Rams and the Packers in their last 3 games. So that's an edge if the odds come out. Bill, it is exciting as you look down the home stretch. How do you handicap what we might see here in the last 3 weeks, last 3 games?
Well, I'm gonna save my prediction for later on.
Okay.
But this Sunday's game is a big revenge game because Jalen Hurts had the worst game of his career when they played the Giants a few weeks back. Because you remember they scored 1 touchdown that whole game and didn't come to the fourth quarter. And if I'm Jalen Hurts, I'm the Eagles, and you have this on the line, and the Giants, who's their quarterback? I think their quarterback is now Jake Fromm from University of Georgia.
Oh yeah, Jake Fromm, sure. After Daniel Jones and Mike Glennon. So and the Giants cannot score points.
Yeah, so they're essentially the Giants stick a fork in them. So if the Eagles don't blow this team out, and I have an exact score prediction for later on, like I said.
Right.
So
Yes.
and the Washington, I think they're done. And Dallas, whenever they have something big to play for, they choke. The division is theirs for the taking. I see them taking that, but they're not going to overtake Green Bay for the number 1 seed. Then the Green Bay is just playing lights out football right now. Of course, I said that about Tom Brady, I believe in the last episode, and he threw a big goose egg up against the Saints.
Well, nobody could have predicted that, but the sports books are dancing in the aisles with all the Brady props that disappeared, the under props, and Tampa Bay losing to New Orleans. As we look at this, Bill, to further your point, and then we're going to get Pete's comment on this about Jalen Hurts, the interceptions against the Giants, not getting into the end zone in the final play of the first half. And, those turnovers, and then the Jalen Reagor drop at the end of that game.
I was wondering when we were going to mention
I think you're right. What's that?
I was wondering when we were going to mention Jalen Reagor.
Well, there you go. So, and yet here they are, more than 10-point favorites against the team they just lost to, which shows you how the pendulum has turned.
Yeah, and then touching on the Vikings, I mean, I watched them play on Monday night against the Bears. They should have blown the Bears off the field because the Bears shot themselves in the foot so many times. I'm surprised a police report wasn't filed in that game. They should have absolutely blown them out. And what was it? The final score was like 17-3 or something. And it's
17-9, they scored on the last play of the game and then didn't kick the extra point because of league rules. And a lot of bettors were pretty upset because they had the Bears +7.
Ouch. So the Vikings don't deserve to make the playoffs, and you touched on their tougher schedule. So I see this as the Eagles' playoff spot to lose, and I can't believe I'm saying this heading into Week 16 of the NFL season, but the team really showed me something on Tuesday.
Yeah, and Pete, now you got the short week. You've got the possibility of the Vikings losing 2 games, the Eagles against the Giants, taking care of business first this week. You see the Giants in disarray, the Eagles coming off momentum, but with a short week. As you put that all together, how do you see this game?
It shouldn't matter. I mean, like Bill said, I mean, the game we lost to them, we literally did everything we could to lose that game, and we still almost won on a last second touchdown. I mean, we still had a chance to win. Like that, I don't know if Jalen Hurts could have actually played any worse. I don't know if the rest of the team could have played any worse, or the coaching staff coached a worse game. I mean, it was literally like the worst case scenario of our offense that game, and we still had a chance to win. And of course, Jalen Reagor does what Jalen Reagor does best, and that's come up short. But but yeah, I think this should, it should be an easy win. If this team is a playoff team, I'm not saying they're a Super Bowl team, but they should beat the bad teams, beat the teams they should beat. And if they don't beat them, then we know that this game and a couple other wins was just fool's gold this year, and they need a lot more work than we thought.
Within the game itself, now some breaking news. You guys can both comment on that. Nick Sirianni testing positive for COVID, so he's on the list. We saw a couple other games with the teams this week that had COVID. Their teams actually lost. Coaching not being able to communicate with the team the same way. How do you think that that diagnosis impacts the preparation for the game, and could it be significant?
I think it's too soon to tell at this point, because it's the report I saw was there's a chance he could be back on Sunday because when he was diagnosed. I know the NFL, and correct me if I'm wrong, changed their policy that you only need one negative test now as opposed to two. So, and there's still several days between now and Sunday when we're recording. And, it's the players that win the game, not the coaches. So if at this point, the assistants, I think, know what the Eagles can and can't do. So if it was Jalen Hurts, it'd be a different story. Well, no, it wouldn't, because then Gardner Minshew would take over.
Yeah, they call him the second coming of Pete Amato. What about how about you, Pete? How do you think this type of thing plays into the game? Even if Sirianni can't go, they know themselves well. They know the Giants well because they just played them.
Yeah, I don't see it that being that big of a problem. This coaching staff is so new and so young anyway, that I don't think Sirianni brings anything extra right now that the offensive coordinator wouldn't bring. They're kind of learning on the fly together, and maybe if it was earlier in the season, I feel like would have more of an impact. But they kind of know what they are right now. They're a run first team. They're not really tricking anybody with the play calls. They're simple play calls. They're just beating people off the line, and if they continue to do that, I think they'll be just fine.
Well, that will lead us to our topic in the third quarter. Do the Eagles have killer instinct? Something to think about, and we'll go to that in the third quarter. Third quarter of Why Eagles Why. The Eagles did show a put-away instinct against Washington with their finale drive to put the game out of reach. Pete, do you think they have enough of that going forward? Is there a killer instinct yet with this team?
I think there's a killer instinct in some of the players, the offensive line specifically, guys like maybe a few guys like Darius Slay, even Jalen Hurts. I feel like he has you can see guys that are just intense about the game. They want to win. But then you think about what killer instinct actually means. And I kind of compare to teams from the past of the Eagles who we know had killer instinct. Players like Jeremiah Trotter, Brian Dawkins, guys like that, Brian Westbrook. And then you kind of compare them, and I don't think they have. They don't compare. Especially a lot of the defensive players. You can't see that killer instinct. I think they're starting to create some kind of identity for themselves, especially on the offense. The offensive line, you might say that the offensive line has a killer instinct because they're bullying people around. You can maybe call them bullies, or somebody refer to them as the nasty boys. But as far as as a team, as a full team, I just don't feel like you look at the Philadelphia Eagles and you think killer instinct. I look at the Philadelphia Eagles and I think if I'm going to think killer instinct, I look at the offensive line. I think that. So.
Well, they had just enough killer instinct to satisfy the bettors, who had them at 9.5 against Washington in this 27-17 win. after a roller coaster week with the odds. The Eagles opened at 2.5 up to 4.5 middle of last week. The COVID news comes out. It goes up to 11. The game comes off the board. And then when they put it back on, 6.5 and then up to 9.5. So I can't remember a roller coaster ride on a particular line like that. That's one gambling story this week. And Bill, you have a couple gambling stories too regarding the Eagles.
Yes. One is at the beginning, there were points of this season we didn't know if the Eagles would even hit this number. But if you guys remember at the beginning of the season, the Eagles over under on wins was 6.5. So here we are. Win number 7 came Tuesday night. And that's still odd to say, football on Tuesday night. So the bettors who can cash those tickets, who had 6.5 wins. I know the number fluctuated a little during the season, but I just checked before we recorded this quarter, and Eagles numbers not on the board right now. So, hey, congrats to all those bettors who took the Eagles on the over 6.5 wins. And this is new also. I noticed on DraftKings they had odds to make the wild card in both the NFC and AFC. And the Eagles odds are at plus 125 to take that wild card spot. So it's a sign that the books are starting to back the Eagles a little bit.
Yeah, and it shows that it's good square odds for the bettors because you're looking at, okay, Pete, this might be a 3-game tournament between the Eagles and the Vikings unless somebody else jumps up there. So you're getting plus 125 for a 3-game round robin, perhaps. And the first game of that is Sunday against the Giants. As you look at this game, does anything stand out to you as a bet you might consider, even if it's not your official Pete's pick?
Yeah, I think the total stands out to me. It's right now on FanDuel, it's at 40.5. I would take the over on that right now all day. I know we didn't score the first time against them, but like I said, I think we have the Eagles, like when you're talking about, they have a different mentality right now. They have a different, they know their identity. They're a run team. They're a run first team. I think they're going to do what they've done to every other defense line. I think they're going to bully the Giants defensive line. I think 40.5 isn't all that much. I mean, you could take away a little bit of the odds and maybe tease it down a little bit, maybe to 37.5, something like that. But yeah, I like the over on the 40.5. I mean, I feel like our defense isn't good. Our defensive line isn't good. So the Giants will probably score some points on us. So I just think that we have the better offense, and we will and we'll keep up with them score for score, and then eventually pass them. So 40.5, I do like that.
And I did a little tooling around today that if you took that line down, maybe to 34, 33, and then you put 2 other money line games with it, if you like those, you can get odds of a little bit better than even money. So there's a couple different ways to play. You can do what you did there, and then you can also make it, hedge your bet a little bit, and then you have to get a couple of bets with that. But that's all part of the fun of the gamesmanship of it all. As we take a look at the Eagles around the horn with this betting scenario in the third quarter, and we'll take another look at the team in the fourth quarter. Fourth quarter of Why Eagles Why. Dave Bontempo, Pete Amato, and Bill Gelman with you. And I know that the Jaguars play the Jets this week in the marquee matchup, but some other games are interesting too. And Pete, one that you like really impacts the Eagles' playoff chances, the game against the Rams and the Vikings.
Yeah, I do like this game. I like the Rams here. Currently right now, FanDuel, they are the Rams are giving 3 points. I'm okay with that line. I think the Rams have so many weapons on offense. They're in Minnesota, but I mean, they play in a dome, and I mean, Vikings fans they're known to be too polite anyway. So I don't think it's that bit of a home field advantage. But yeah, I do like the Rams in this game. That'll be my Pete's pick of the week. I think currently right now I'm about 10-3 with the spread. So it's better than I thought it was going to be. But yeah, so I'm going with the Rams -3 against the Vikings, and it will help the Eagles with their playoff chances. So,
And you all wondered how Pete can afford that second home. Well, he's doing what Pete's picks. So then the games around the league that are compelling. Don't forget there are some games on Christmas night. And one game I love is the Buffalo Bills New England Patriots rematch. I'm fascinated by it because New England only ran the ball 3 times against the Bills, and they won in very windy conditions. They lost last week to Indianapolis. Off the bye, they looked rusty, but they played well in the second half. And I am fascinated to see how that game comes out. And how about you, Bill? What fascinates you and really intrigues you on the schedule this week?
Well, it doesn't fascinate me because it's actually very, very painful for me to say the second time this season I'm a Cowboys fan. It takes a lot to get me to cross that line to the dark side. But the Sunday night football this week is Washington, Dallas. Essentially, Dallas is going to win the division. And if they beat Washington, no matter what the score is, it helps the Eagles' cause to get that wild card spot. So for a few hours, I can root for the Cowboys. I don't know if I'm going to watch the game because that might be too painful to do. I don't love the line. The Cowboys are right now are 10.5-point favorite at DraftKings. I would probably tease it down and put it in a parlay with a couple other teams, but I don't see how the Cowboys lose this game. But then again, it's the Cowboys and they're known for choking. So hopefully they don't choke.
Well, 2 points of interest. One, our buddy KDK Kohler says that if I have to bet Dallas, if I have to root for them, you have to pay me. I bet them. So we'll see if that happens again with her. And even if Washington loses, to your point, the Eagles play Washington the following week. So if the Washington football team is out of it officially, then they really have nothing to play for. So that's the domino effect the Eagles are rooting for. So it is an intriguing schedule, and we'll be back with our parting shots. It's overtime on Why Eagles Why. Time for a little fun. Prediction on the Eagles against the Giants and how many games they'll win. I'm going to take a strange score like Eagles 28, Giants 13. And I think the Eagles win 2 of the last 3 games. It's just so hard to navigate the landscape with that Dallas game. So they're my thoughts heading into this week. Bill, how about you?
I'm going to go Philadelphia Eagles 32, Giants 9, because the Giants just have trouble scoring, and I don't even know who's part of their offense anymore. So I'm going to
Same total.
Yeah.
We both have the same total, 41. Keep that in mind. Okay.
Interesting. I didn't put that together. And this is also a revenge game. So I'm adding that to the factor. And I see the Eagles possibly winning outright. Actually pretty confident because Giants and Washington, they're stronger than both those teams right now. And I really don't think the Cowboys are going to have anything to play for that final week of the regular season. And it's always fun to beat the Cowboys at home. And the Cowboys, I mean, they just don't look like a good team. They're just they got lucky a few times.
Right now they're just good enough. Pete, score of the game. How many Eagles wins between now and the end of the year?
Score of the game. I think the Eagles do score. I think it's going to be 30-17. I think the Eagles offense will score, but the Eagles defense is bad. So I think the Giants will at least get 2 touchdowns. So 30-17. It's the over is 40.5. So it's way, I think, so we all got the over, right? So everybody the over right now is like 40.5. And for the rest of the season, I'm going to stick to my guns. I'm going to say they're going to lose one game. I think they're going to lose to the Cowboys. I don't know if the Cowboys will have it all clinched up because, like Bill said, they seem to come up short any big game. So they could lose a game or 2 coming down the stretch and for a better ranking or whatever, they play the Eagles, or they might just play the Eagles tough, or the Eagles might take them soft. I mean, I don't know. So I think we have to win out if we want to make the playoffs, but I don't know. I just have a sinking feeling that they're going to lose that game to the Cowboys. So.
All right. So there you have those totals. First of all, Any viewers in North Jersey will be doing cartwheels that anybody, and both of us thought the Giants could get double-digit points in a game. So they have to be happy about that. And by the way, we are right on our predictions in the ballpark. With 6 weeks to go, I said they'd win 4. Bill said they'd win 4. Pete, you said they'd win 3. They're 2-1 after the 3. So we're all in the ballpark with our picks. So when we convene next week, will the Eagles be a playoff team in the standings, or will people be saying, why? Eagles, why? For Bill Gelman and for Pete Amato, it's Dave Fontempo saying so long for now, and look forward to seeing you next week.